Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is How to Get Away with Murder, Season 4, Episode 4, and the name of this episode is Was She Ever Good at Her Job? Yo, this was a really good episode. Before I get started, let me offer my love and condolences to everyone that was affected by the tragedies in Las Vegas, as well as the hurricanes Harvey, Irma, Jose, and Maria. If you can offer any relief or any support to everyone that was affected by these tragedies, please do so, because we do have an obligation to our fellow man, and it's our responsibility to see to it that we actually help our fellow man in times of trouble. Now, on with this review. We already see in the beginning of this episode, Annalise is now working on her class action suit against the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, because we saw her talk about this in the last episode between her and Dr. Isaac, where she said the reason why she took down Virginia the way she did was because she wanted to prove that a lot of these, cases are not being solved due to the fact that the clients don't have money and they're not getting a fair trial. And, obviously, Virginia was given a busload of different cases, and she didn't have enough time to prepare, in her last case, because there was an actual footage of there was an actual footage that the woman committed suicide, and that the guy that was accused of murdering her, who was in jail for 12 years, actually was innocent. So, with all of that, this is why, Annalise has decided to do this class action suit against the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, because she's saying that a lot of these cases are not being tried fairly. So she's now working out her logistics, and she's not even putting notes on her phone. She got her tape recorder, and she was like, "Hack this bitch," because she knows that she was hacked. Her phone was hacked the last time, because we saw when she had confronted Bonnie and Nate. So we see that going on. Now, as far as the Keating 4, we see that, and I think I'm gonna go into each of them and what's going on with them. We see that Michaela's still at Kaplanin Gold. She's an intern there. We see that Asher is still trying to find an internship, but every internship he's looking at, they're already booked, so he hasn't found an internship yet. Laurel is still working with Bonnie, but Laurel is on some other shit, and I'm gonna get to Laurel's ass, because Laurel really pissed me off in this episode, and she is like more and more. Laurel is just making me disgusted with her ass. And then who's the other person? Oh yeah, and Connor has still decided to drop out of school. Connor right now is just, all he's doing is working out in the house and having raunchy sex with Oliver, and that's pretty much a routine. And also, his father's in town, and his father is also gay. And we come to find out the reason why Connor doesn't like his dad. First, let me talk about who I want to discuss first. Oh yeah, I'll talk about Connor's situation first. Now, what's going on with Connor? Connor's having issues with his father, and we see that Oliver is actually talking to his father and his father's husband online or whatever. He's trying to get Connor to talk to his dad, but Connor is totally not trying to deal with him at all. And the reason is because Connor's father came out to their mother, and this was after, I think, that him and his parents had been married for about 40 years, and all of a sudden, he drops the bomb to his mom that he was gay, and he saw his mother go through a deep depression after his dad left, and his dad moved on. He met this guy Ted, and they've been together ever since. But we come to find out that Connor's father actually admires him, because what gave him the strength to come out was Connor came out at the age of 12. And he told his mother and his father that I'm gay, it is what it is, and there's nothing I can do about it. So, and he said that he liked Connor's courage and independence, and seeing his son being open to tell his truth, the next week he came out to his wife that he was gay. But he said that what Connor is upset about was that he left his mom and he saw his mother struggle and suffer after, his father left. So he has a lot of this animosity against his father, and he's like, oh, the only reason why my father's here is because of the money. Because, his father's been paying his tuition, and that he was spending up that tuition check, was going to the club and throwing it on the, the booty boys and shit. So we even see a scene where, after Connor's working out, he thinks Oliver's coming home. He takes off his drawers and is ready to, to pounce on Oliver, but then comes in, Oliver's there with his father and his father's husband, and he's like, I hate you. And we see that they end up having dinner together, and we also see that later on, finally, Connor and his father have a conversation, and he's like saying that, look, the only reason why you're here is because of the money and all of that. And his father's like, you can keep the money. I'm not here for the money. I'm here, to talk to you. And he said that, look, Oliver was one of the people that's been reaching out to me. And yeah, I am concerned about you. And he's saying that, and the father mentions to Connor that, yeah, he mentioned that you guys were thinking about getting married. And he's like, wow, just Oliver just don't know when to quit. And he's like, no, it's not a bad thing. It's just the problem is that you two just aren't meant for each other. And then Connor's like, what the hell are you talking about? You think you can just show up and tell me how to live my life? He's like, don't get me wrong. I like Oliver. Oliver is a good guy. He's just not the right guy for you. Like, you used to be this very independent and very courageous person. He's like, I don't know what happened to you, but Oliver is definitely not your kind of guy. And here it is, you're playing house with him, but you're not fully committed the way that he needs you to be, and you guys are not really that equally yoked. And this just set Connor off. Connor threw the damn check at his father and walked off, and that was the end of that. But then we kind of see that what his father told him is now playing in Connor's mind. So that's what's going on with Connor. Now I'm going to get to, the actual case at hand involving Michaela. We actually see that Annalise actually runs into Professor Hargrove, from Middleton University. Y'all remember her. She's pretty much the president. And, we actually see that from last season, Professor Hargrove had actually turned on Annalise to work with Atwood to get information, because Atwood promised her that she would help her win custody of her kids. So we actually see that right now, pretty much Annalise is like, look, I need money. So won't you hire me as being a part of your legal team to help you get custody of your children? And like Hargrove was like, what are you talking about? I already got legal representation, and we're about to settle. And she's like, are you really settling, or are you just playing along because you just want to give him whatever he wants so you can just end this, so you're just settling for whatever it is? So are you really settling, or are you just going along with shit? Because she says, if you really bring me on your team, I can see to it that you get what you deserve and that you get a fair shake out of the deal. So this definitely sticks to Hargrove. So she's like, okay, fine, I'll bring you on to my legal team. Little does she know, her legal team, involves Boss Dick. Her name is actually Keegan Price, who we saw from the last episode. And Michaela is now her intern. And we see on the elevator, Michaela is like sucking up to her, and she's like, stop kissing my ass. I hate that. But we got to get in here, and we're going to land this, and we're going to do what we got to do. They get off the elevator, and we see that Keegan is actually Hargrove's main attorney. And now she's brought on Annalise. So she's like, oh yes. And she comes and she's like, and yes, and this is my intern, Michaela Pratt. And we just see Michaela and Annalise lock eyes. And I was like, oh shit, this is going to be good. So pretty much they actually sit down with they pretty much have like a sit down between Hargrove and her team and her ex-husband and his team. and they're going back and forth around the custody and everything. And pretty much her husband's attorney is like, look, she has been proven time and time again that she's unreliable and that she's not fit to be a parent. And throughout their marriage, she's been nothing but a drunken mess. And for what we're seeing, the father should get, $3 million, as well as he should be getting like sole custody. And we just see that her husband has it out for her. And then he was saying that, look, either we get what we want, because pretty much they pretty much want what they want out of the deal. But then Annalise is like, oh no, I'm not going to make my client capitulate to this shit. She deserves a fair exchange in the situation, and this is just not fair. And then her husband's lawyer is like, oh, you want to talk about fair? How about I take all of this information to the courts, and they will just grant it off the bat, because we got proof that she was unfit as a mother and as a wife, and we can prove that at the end of the day, he was the only real solid parent in that relationship, and we'll get it we'll get sole custody of the kids, and she'll still have to pay alimony. And they pretty much he pretty much gives them a hard drive, and on this hard drive we see that Hargrove is drunk, is drunk as hell. She's throwing up in the toilet, and her husband is there, and she's just like fighting off with him. And they're like, oh my God, like this asshole. He literally was planning things to get his way at the end. So they were like, oh, we can actually use this and say that this is like an invasion of privacy, but it's like, well, actually we can't, because they were married at the time. So, so therefore they can still use this. So now they're kind of coming up with a strategy. Okay, what do we have to do to actually flip this situation around? So we also see that there's been an exchange between Michaela and Annalise, and then Michaela's like, we should be professional, and we do need to keep positive face. Do you think you can do that? And Annalise is like, I think you need to get off of my elevator. I'm like, Annalise, you better let her have it, because we see that Michaela can be a bitch, and she's a brat, just like the rest of those Keating Four. They're all brats. And, we see all that going on. And also, as far as Laurel is still trying to get Michaela to crack in those files, involving her father, because she's still on this theory that her father killed Wes, and she can prove that he had something to do with it. So, she's still trying to get Michaela to hack in the files or whatever, and we actually see later on that she tries to get into the system, but then the iTech guy lets her know that look, the only way you're going to get into these files is that you need permission from Keegan, and if Keegan doesn't sign off on it, you can't get into the files because you're an intern, so you don't have full access to this. But then later on we see that Michaela actually develops a plan of how to do that. So we saw that go on. So, involving that case, involving the case with Hargrove or whatever, Annalise was supposed to send this information to this guy Barry, who's actually a part of the legal team, but she ends up sending it to the wrong Barry. She sends it to the actual head of the university. So now the head of the university knows about Hargrove's business and her past of alcoholism and her trying to get custody of her kids. And like the president and Hargrove go back and forth or whatever, and Hargrove is pissed. She was like, you know what, Annalise? You don't understand what this is. You never had children. You don't know what it's like to lose them. I'm like, if only you knew Hargrove. She knows your situation probably more than you realize. But Hargrove was really mad that now the head of the university now knows her business, and this could ruin her career. But Annalise fixed that, because she pretty much let her know that she said that, look, that information was sent to you by mistake, and if you base anything off of that, I will have a class action suit against your ass, and I will definitely rip you apart in court. So pretty much we see later on he drops that. But then we actually see that the legal team has now decided to get to work. And, well, before that, we see while all of that was going on, you know, after Annalise had made that error by sending the information to the wrong person, we see that Keegan and Michaela are outside the room talking, and, like, she was like, was she ever good at her job? And she also peeped that Michaela and Annalise knew each other. And she was like, so I can definitely tell something's going on with you two. What is it? Because I immediately noticed a change once you saw her, you know, when we got off the elevator. So what's going on? So Michaela lets her know that, yes, she used to be my professor, and I hate her. And she's like, is that going to be an issue? And Tegan was like, look, half of the people in this firm I hate, but I'm a boss bitch. I come in here and I handle my business. And that's exactly what you need to do. So either you get your head into the game, or you can take your ass on somewhere. But then we actually see Tegan was like, well, she still looked kind of hot though. And I'm like, oh shoot, so Tegan gets down. She's a lesbian. And she definitely had an eye on Annalise, like, okay. I was like, okay, Tegan, I see you, baby. And I actually like Tegan, because Tegan is definitely one of those boss chicks up in there, and I think that's what made Michaela gravitate towards her, because it was reminiscence of Annalise. So we saw that go down. So pretty much we see that she's kind of working out this case or whatever, but then also on the other side, well, I'm actually going to get to that. So I'm just going to wrap up this whole case. So they pretty much do information, and we see that finally Annalise has a meeting with Dr. Isaac, and you know, she talks about her class action suit and everything, and she was saying that, and he pretty much his main thing is that, are you doing this because it's the right thing to do, or are you doing this because you're trying to compensate for something that's missing in your life? And then he brings up the case. He brings up exactly what she said during the legal board about Wes committing suicide, and that all of this stuff has caved in on her, and that's what drove her to drink. So he's asking, are you using work as another mechanism to deal with that grief? Are you doing this because of what happened to Wes? You know, is this the main reason why you're doing all of this active workload, while you're, you know, filling out a civil action suit against the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and while you're taking on this current case? Are you doing this, you know, to kind of distract you from what's going on? But then he also says that, look, I have to do a progress report every month to send to the board to let them know how you're doing. And she actually gets, you know, and she pretty much gets a copy of it, and she got a copy to say that he actually gave her a good report. This draws an idea that, okay, you know, since he's talking about that he went through therapy, and, you know, talking about Hargrove's husband, he was saying that he had to go through therapy and all of this. He had to go through, like, therapy and all that during their marriage because of her alcoholism and her neglect of the children. Annalise gets an idea, okay, so we need to actually track and see, you know, we pretty much have to find out everything of everyone that he was involved with, and all of his, you know, therapy sessions and all of that. We need to get, you know, we need to kind of dig deeper and find out what's going on. And due to the fact that Michaela is now an intern, and she's working with Keegan, she's now the head of the interns, so Michaela was kind of giving boss teams like, look, like, get up off your asses and give me what I need. So they're all working to find out all this information about Hargrove's husband, and they come to find out that they think he was actually cheating on her with someone named Sue. But then Hargrove was like, oh, I know who Sue is. We come to find out that Sue, so they finally get all this information, they meet up again, they present this information, and he's like, you know, Sue was not a woman. Sue was my account manager, and he was Asian, but then they find out, but then they also reveal, he's an account manager. That's true. So you weren't having an affair, but you were having like a secret liaison with this guy, because what you were doing is that you were funneling funds to him, and you were putting this money in offshore's account, which is a federal offense. You know, you're evading taxes, and you're pretty much, you know, you're pretty much swindling, you're pretty much trying to hide your wealth. So they pretty much renegotiated the deal. She gets sole custody, and instead of $3 million, he only gets $1 million. So they finally settled out of court, and there we go. So they worked that situation, and I'm like, that was boss. Now on the other side of things, we remember Annalise is trying to do this civil suit against the state. So she's trying to get all of the information in regards to Virginia's cases. The lady on the phone tells her that, look, you're asking about paying like about $20,000 to $30,000 because it costs $2 per sheet to print all of that information. And if you're asking for all her cases, you're asking about damn near $30,000. So she pretty much asks, okay, well, let me just get at least the opening statements to all of her cases. And with that, it went down to about $2,000 or $3,000. But still, that's a lot of money. But she actually, once she won her case with Hargrove, she ended up getting all that information. But then we also see that Bonnie, who's now working with the DA, she's trying to get that information too, because she's trying to find out what is Annalise up to and why is she probing into this information. And I'm like, Bonnie, you need to sit your simple ass down, because you are literally operating off of your emotions, and you are not operating off of the mind of justice. And if anything, we see that her and Nate have a run-in. Her and Nate still have this tension between them, but yet Nate is trying to do the same thing. He's trying to find out, what really. He's trying to also figure out, what was really going on with Virginia's cases. Because we see that Bonnie actually asked permission from the DA to look into Virginia's cases, because, there's going to be some. So I think Annalise is probing, and if she finds anything, she could kind of use this to take down your office as well as everybody here. So I want to look into the case to make sure, there's no smoking guns or anything. Denver tells her she can do it, but she got to do it alone. She can't, and no one else can be involved. Then he finds out that Laurel is working there as her intern. He pretty much tells her to fire her, and she's like, I can't fire her. He says, I'm your boss. Fire her. And she says that she's pregnant, and there will be and then there will be a discrimination lawsuit put against you if you fire her. So Laurel ain't going nowhere. But we see he got his eye out on Laurel, because I think he knows who Laurel is, and she knows who she's attached to. And I'm definitely going to wrap this up. So pretty much we see that that Nate pretty much literally lets Bonnie know that, look, because there was like one case, and there was like some files that was missing, and Bonnie was looking for it. He actually found it for her, but then he lets Bonnie know, whatever it is you got going on with Annalise, you need to stop it, because I don't know if I'll be there the next time she wants to kick your ass. So whatever it is you got going on, stop it. But we know Bonnie is still in her feelings, and Bonnie is a weak bitch. So Bonnie's still going to keep trying shit. Because we actually see what she does at the end of the episode. Towards the end of the episode, she goes to see Dr. Roa, and she uses a fake name. I think the name she uses is Judith. So I'm like, see, Bonnie is really trying to get back at Annalise in any way she can. So we see that she's building her case to kind of show why she's doing a civil action suit against the state. But if anything, Nate had ran into her, and she was like, why are you doing this? What's in it for you? She says, maybe I'm trying to do the right thing. And then like Nate was like, you've never been on the side of right. And I'm like, Nate, sit your ass down. Because if anything, Nate understands what she's trying to do, and that's why he checked Bonnie. He's like, look, whatever you got against Annalise, you need to blow it out your ass, and you need to stop coming for her, because I don't know if I'm going to be there the next time she wants to whoop your ass. So, but then we see that she takes the next step and goes to see Dr. Isaac, and she uses a fake name to get to him. Now, we also see on Laurel's end, Laurel is still doing some research, and while she's looking at all these lists of names under the DA's, sponsors, she comes across this guy named Ted, Ted Stockholm or something like that. He used to work for her father, but he was killed. But yet, on the records, it's still showing that he's one of the biggest funders to the DA. So she's saying the DA also has something to do with Wes's death as well. And we did see that Dominic and the DA did have an interaction last season. So she's getting closer and closer to it. So while she's researching, we see damn Denver in the corner peeping her ass because he knows she's up to something. And I think he also knows who she may be affiliated with. So we're going to see more to come about with that. So then, towards the end, Michaela realizes, okay, I got an idea of how we're going to hack these records. Since she can't get into it herself, she reaches out to Oliver. Because Oliver is the IT expert, and he knows how to hack records and shit. So she brings on Oliver, and she asks Oliver to hack into Tegan's files and to get this information in regards to Laurel's father and his dealings. So we saw all of that go on. Then it reverts back to, I think, 1.5 months later, where we kind of picked up where Laurel's in the hospital freaking out about where's her baby. We see that Michaela had a breakdown and she's bloody, and Isaac's comforting her. We see he gets a call from Judith, Bonnie, quote unquote, and he ignores the call. So then we see that Bonnie leaves Annalisa's place where there was a lot of blood, and she's saying that she has to go to Complaining Gold because there's a witness there. They go to Complaining Gold. We see that there's tape everywhere and that it's blood everywhere, and it looks like somebody's head got blown off, and the person who's the witness is Oliver, and Oliver is sitting there shaking. And I'm like, whoa, this is going to be good. So we see that possibly 2 people got killed. Who got killed and what happened that led to all of this? So the puzzle is starting to really come together. So we see that Oliver's involved. So we're going to see what's going to go on with that. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But yeah, How to Get Away with Murder is really getting good, and I'm so here to find out what's going to happen next. So subscribe channel, and click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, I've started a GoFundMe account. Excuse me. I started a GoFundMe account. You can find that link in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back with the next episode of How to Get Away with Murder. So until then, everybody, take care.